schools don't teach nothing about finance, entrepreneurship, business. There's nothing there. Anyone that you see who's super successful, it's never about the money. 99% of rich people are secretive. If just someone that wants to get started says, oh, how can I do what you do? They're going to tell you, they're going to start telling you, here's what you to do, and here's, why would they? On the day-to-day, business comes first. And I saw Machine Gun Kelly literally just sat there, chilling out, having a drink, and I went over, I said, like, really, really rude. And I was like,
so guys, welcome back to a very, very exciting video in my channel. I think we all know this man next to me, a personal mentor of mine since 2018. When I had my estate agency, I've shared my journey here. He was the man who probably was surprised when he had a estate agent in his academy. So we'll let Samuel introduce himself, but I am so excited today to do this video. Samuel, welcome to this video.
it's a pleasure, mate, and it's been great seeing your growth over the last 6-7 years of when we met. So yeah, respect and appreciate all you do.
And today we are actually in my house.
Yep.
In Sandbanks.
Yes.
And
great, mate. Lovely. It's got even better views than my house in Sandbanks. So although mine's literally very close to yours.
Very, very close to.
But you know I'm moving house now though. So.
Well, and it's going to have a better view than mine.
Well, we'll see, yeah.
I think the Sandbanks has that. Now, look, I think firstly, I want to talk about 4 things today, right? Health, wealth, love, and happiness. They're the 4 topics, and I think people watching this video, Samuel's done a lot of video, and we've done a lot of research online to talk about certain things that I find it very motivating from Samuel, especially with what he's done around the industry. So Samuel, my first thing for you is, let's talk about your health. Like,
yeah.
How has everything been for you in terms of like running such a big business and maintaining the health you have?
Yeah, whenever I used to do, you know, the Wheel of Life. I don't know if you've ever done it where you have to rate yourself out of 10 and then you do a circle and the circle's supposed to be even. Whenever I used to do that, there used to be some real bad points, and my health was always one of them, because I've been, all my adult life, I've been overweight, like pretty massively overweight. And yeah, I mean, now my health, we went for a run yesterday.
I was about to say,
yeah, we went for a
I
run.
had to keep up with Samuel on a big run.
It was a big one. So it was good. I'm boxing, eating clean. I've lost 6 stone, can you believe it?
Wow.
And I'm the fittest and in the best shape I've been in my entire life. So yeah, it's been great. I'm blessed and happy.
And what motivated you to do that?
There's many things that motivate me to do that, but the main thing was when my little boy asked me. He said, Daddy, he said, why do you have such a big belly? And it was an innocent question. I was only like 4 or 5 years old at the time, but it was an innocent question, but it made me think, well, what do I say to that? You know, what do I say to that? So I just told him the truth, and I just said it's because Daddy eats too much. But then I thought, what kind of an example is that to my children? I've got 3 kids, a 4th on the way, to be able to just say, oh yeah, I eat a lot. That's just it. Because like my boy especially, he wants to be just like me. He copies exactly what I do, how I talk, how I walk, what I wear. So I thought, if I'm overweight, what kind of an example is that to my boy? So there's many, many things that motivated me, but I think that was probably the main.
Oh man, amazing.
Yeah.
Obviously, we've, like many people have probably followed you online, and I've seen your journey as well.
Yeah.
When I met you two now, and you know, yesterday was a prime example how I said to you, thank you so much for pushing me, because I've done the same run 100 times, never thought I would have done it under an hour.
Yeah, well, mate, we smashed.
We did it 57 minutes. You did it
52,
55.
52 minutes.
Oh wow. Okay, so probably.
I don't think you were that much behind me, to be honest. But yeah, 52 minutes.
I was in the last mile, but it was
I
amazing.
can show you, man. I'm gonna show you. To be fair, like that was. I think when you run, that's another thing. Environment's really important. When you're doing stuff with other people, it pushes you. Here we go. Look. That was yesterday.
52, yes.
52 minutes and 3 seconds, so
wow.
I need to shave 4 seconds off of getting the 51s.
Wow, amazing.
Almost 10K.
It was almost 10K, and one of the things, I've got to say this, I said to you while I ran, I've always stopped
there
and back, I said to you, and it was my first time.
You did well, mate.
Yeah.
You did well, mate.
I appreciate you sharing your health journey. What else do you think, like, because I've gone the other way around, and I think people watch this video will probably know this. I was actually probably about 6-7 kilo less than what I am now, and I put on, based on just my work life, how busy is it? So how do we maintain this?
Yeah, I mean, it's difficult because there's only so much willpower you can have, isn't there? You know what I mean? Like, there's only so many things you can focus on. So I know for me, focusing on my fitness and my health, I do put a lot of time into it at the moment. Like, I'm training a lot, I'm very disciplined, and it's very difficult when you're in the takeoff stage of your business and you're in that growth stage in the early days to also have, you know, relationships relationships and health, and very tough, man. It's very, very, very tough. But I mean, for me, I got rich first, and then hired a chef, hired a trainer, you can't pay someone to get you in good shape, but you can pay people to really help you. So that's kind of what I did, but I wouldn't necessarily recommend being fat for 10 years, and then, but that's what I did.
And you've done amazing, like you've shown again and again, every aspect of life, you can achieve things when done correctly.
Yeah.
And that's the, like, we've seen your before and after photos.
Yeah,
and it's amazing, and respect to you. Look, now moving on to, I think, wealth. We all admire you in the UK. I said to my dad this morning, I was like, you're coming down. And do you remember the Financial Free Academy certificate that we used to get in 2018? It was in a gold frame.
Right.
And you used to give, you're financially free after we've done.
Oh,
do you remember
wow.
those?
No, I actually don't.
Do you not? I've got it one in my house in Aldershot. Yeah.
Maybe we should reintroduce that to the academy.
Yeah. Oh my God. Like, honestly, it's in my house, in
Mate,
my lounge.
I'm going to reintroduce that.
Right.
So when you come on Winners on a Wednesday and you're financially free, you get a certificate.
Yeah.
Mate, why you got to stop doing that?
I don't know why.
But you were like probably the third or fourth Winners on a Wednesday.
I was, and we'll put the link down below as well for you guys to go and watch. Probably an interview 4 or 5 years ago with Samuel, and my journey throughout, and I've shared a lot online as well. But let's go back to wealth then. So what does it look like for you now as a young, inspiring entrepreneur in the UK? A lot of people follow you.
What does it look like in what regard?
In every sense. So firstly, I guess your influence to people. Yeah. And secondly, what are you involved in?
Yeah, I mean, what I'm involved in is bringing financial education and financial literacy to as many people as I can. Predominantly, I'm based in the UK, but I've got investments all over the world. So when I was at school, I was seen as the stupid kid. I was seen as short attention span, ADHD, never going to be successful. No one really saw anything in me as a kid. So the fact that now I'm so successful, obviously there was some gift in there, but I think it's because schools don't teach or see, look out for nothing about finance, entrepreneurship, business. There's nothing there. So people who are in their 30s, dentists, very smart people, very personable, in fact, you could be a dentist. Did you ever want to be a dentist in another life? You remind me of my dentist.
Why?
Friendly, got that kind of way. You could be a dentist. But this is the thing, like, you could be a dentist, right? Working as an employee, but you'd probably getting paid way more now, living a much better life now, not just with more wealth, but also more time, flexibility, live where you want, work on your terms. But that's only as a result of you figuring out property and different things. So yeah, man, I mean, listen, I get paid to run a training education company. But for me, it's more about anyone that you see who's super successful, it's never about the money. Yeah. Like if you look at, Bill Gates and Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk. Like Elon Musk is thinking, how can I make another billion? Elon Musk's thinking, how can I explore something new? How can I get into Mars? And then the money just follows. But for me, the mission is very much, yes, I'm excited about my investment, absolutely. But the impact and the influence is more on educating people and showing people what's possible. And most rich people don't do that. We're in a beautiful, wealthy area right now. All these people in these beautiful big houses and mansions on the sea, they won't talk to you. They won't tell you what they're doing. They won't say, okay, here's how I got here. They'll keep a high gate. And that's generally what happens. Rich people, generally speaking, are secretive. They don't want to talk about money. They hide away.
And you've met a lot of them from different angles of life.
99% of rich people are secretive. And if you say, so they won't be secretive to me, because if I'm talking to them as a peer, like, okay, how's your business doing? And they're my friend, fine. But if just someone that wants to get started says, oh, how can I do what you do? They're going to tell you, they're going to start telling you, here's what you to do, and why would they?
Absolutely. And I think one of the things, like, again, I'm going back to the meetings I've had with you, because it's a great time for me to reflect and give you those memories, because I think you probably had
Well, 10, I forgot about the certificate then, didn't I?
Yeah, you did.
There's probably plenty more.
So I remember this quote, when we sat down, like, it was a very intimate group. There was about only 7 people. And some people I remember who's still with you now is Jeremy.
Yeah.
There was Don, there was another guy, Ricky,
was
in that same room.
Yeah.
And I remember after doing everything we had to do with financials and stuff to plan our journey for the next 12 months, at that time, you had a business mentor. I can't remember.
Rex.
Yes,
Tony.
Rex.
Yeah.
And you both said, Piers, let your journey be different and don't compare it with somebody else. Mm-hmm. And that's always stuck to me. Yeah. I speak to Ivan, I speak to my brother, and I'm like, don't worry about what other people are doing.
Yeah.
less, and I've seen, and going back to the question I'm asking to you, your same mission has always been what you said in 2018 and hasn't changed.
Yeah.
And how is that possible, like, for someone? How did you even think about that when you're so, I'm not saying a small business then, but you were quite small compared to what you are today?
Yeah. Well, I don't think your mission does change. I don't think your purpose and your mission changes. How you deliver that, the certificates, the peripherals can change, but the core mission, I don't think it ever will. I don't think it ever will change. I mean, we've obviously grown, we've improved, we've got new products and services. We've now got the Samuel Leeds Finance, so we actually can give out loans to our students and all kinds of stuff that we weren't in a position to do back then. Then there was 7 people in the room. Now we can connect you to hundreds of people, but we still have the intimacy. I still do coaching at my house. Get people down. So the mission's not changed. The message hasn't changed, but the delivery has. I don't think it ever will. I think you can fast forward another 10 years. I think it will still be same mission, but hopefully just much better infrastructure, more products.
And what does the academy look like now?
Oh mate, very different. Really? I mean, you were like early 2017, 2018. Yeah. That's like it hadn't been going in no time. So
20 people.
Yeah, man, that was like long time ago. So now, it's changed massively because now we've got way more infrastructure support. We've got our own social media platform. We've got the finance aspect. We've got people can message their deals and they'll get reviewed. We've got power teams, full-time solicitors, builders, AI. I got my own ChatGPT Samuel Leeds version, so people can just message that. But they can also talk to the real me if they want, whenever they want. It's just, I've poured my life into it and to creating. And also I had a lot of criticism in the early days, but rather than being like afraid to receive criticism, I actually embraced it and said, okay, how can I get better then? Yeah. The way to stop criticism is to be so good that there's nothing left to criticise.
What were you criticised about then?
Oh, people used to criticise me for, I mean, there's the criticisms generally of being a landlord. Being, I'll wait for that plane.
We've got Bournemouth Air Show.
What's that? Oh yeah, there might be a few. There's of course the usual criticisms in the media about just being a landlord, owning lots of properties. I think the criticisms as a trainer, I mean, it might be, you're growing too quickly. So I'm like, okay, that's true. So how can we put a caveat to that to make that a good thing as opposed to a bad thing? Number one, having a good infrastructure so that if we grow, we're growing, but our infrastructure is growing. As long as people can get mentoring on demand, when they need mentoring, then a bigger network is actually good because it means there's more people to partner with, there's more people to. So it's about just listening, talking to your customers, finding out what they really want, and then giving it to them.
Yeah, and I guess at this moment in time, I've shared to you quite a few things that I've recently spoken about with your academy members and worked with them. Yeah. It kind of really shows me that the growth of the academy, and I keep saying it's very, very big. And my mindset has always been, how's Samuel actually coping with it?
Well, we were getting stopped on the beach from academy members.
We were, weren't we? While we ran.
Yeah. Oh, I'm in your academy.
Do you remember I asked you saying, how often do you get stopped?
Yeah.
And then, I think 5 minutes down the line, somebody went, "Hi, Samuel."
Yeah.
Academy member.
Even today, I was just filming earlier. I was filming a house tour, and there was a guy next door in some mansion cutting the grass, and I was like, "We can't be filming with that grass cutting on." No. So I had to go and tell him, "Do you mind just giving us a few minutes of quiet?" And I said, "Do you mind giving us a few minutes of quiet?" And he went, "Oh, no problem. Can I get a photo?"
Oh, no, yeah. I've seen you loads of time.
So now I'm getting stopped more and more as well now, which is really weird. I didn't know how to handle it at first. When people would come up to me and say like, "Oh, can I get a picture?" Or, "Oh, hi, how you doing?" Saying I'm a fan. I found it a bit awkward to know how to respond. Yeah. Because it's like, "Oh, hiya," like when you just like out with your kids or whatever. But I realised, you know what? Sometimes it takes courage for people to come over and have those conversations. Yeah, so it's always. And I had some bad experiences. I don't know if you know the musician Machine Gun Kelly. No, I haven't. Yeah, he's quite big in America. And I saw him. I was staying at the Arts in Barcelona, and I saw Machine Gun Kelly literally just sat there chilling out, having a drink. And I was like, "Oh my gosh!" And I went over. I said, "Hey," "Wow." I said, "Would I be able to grab a photo or something?" Yeah. And he just went, "Bro, I'm on holiday." Really? Like really, really rude. And I was like, "Oh." And that was a few years ago. And then I was like, you know what? If anyone ever comes up to me and asks me for a photo, I don't care how busy I am. I don't care if I'm with my kids. I don't care what I'm doing. I'm always just going to give people the time of day. And, you know, I'd like to think that that will always be the case. So if you see me in the street, come always say hello. It's all good.
Well, guys, look, I think a lot of time I've seen Samuel, I've met Samuel now, probably like, I think this is probably our 5th or 6th times with Academy, and now personally, in a personal level, I've always seen you to give value to people where, and it doesn't matter where and what time it is, right? But let me ask you one thing. So when it takes a lot of time away from you, like in your personal moments when you're with kids,
Yeah.
how does it feel when you go back and said you've added, because there's always someone you've added value to.
Yeah.
What's the biggest value that you think you can add to someone in this online space of personal branding?
I mean, I think having courage to actually step out, have a dream, and to know that you are qualified to do that. People think, like I used to think this. When I started in business, I'm too young, I'm only 17, no one's going to take me seriously. I'm not educated, my family aren't rich, I'm from the wrong background, I live in the wrong neighbourhood. But actually, letting people, that's what I do when it's on a Wednesday, interview people, because it's like, look, regardless of your age, your gender, your religious beliefs, regardless of where you're from, it doesn't matter, you know, and just giving people that belief in themselves to say, yeah, I need to figure a lot of stuff out. Yes, I need to educate myself, and absolutely, but you know what? The marketplace doesn't discriminate. And if I can bring value to the marketplace, then I will get paid handsomely for it. So, I think giving people that belief, and often I'll be in a room full of people, you know, you got like young people. I was just working with a kid recently, he messaged me on Instagram, he was like 15, man, messaged me on Instagram. He's on the academy, he's doing really well, he's making loads of money. I was with him last week, we were sparring together in the gym, and I'm just thinking, man, this kid's 16. Like most people, if they got an Instagram message, it wouldn't even respond to a 15-year-old, let alone be embracing and bringing him to the community. So just give him, and he had cancer, man. The kid's just recovered from chemotherapy and that. And I was just thinking, like, isn't it? It's just mad. So I think just giving people, some people that can't even believe in themselves, when you've got someone successful like me or other people believing in them on their behalf.
Yeah, yeah.
I think that's a huge, that mindset and that mentality and that belief is a huge, yeah, there's the technical skills, but I think that's probably the most value initially. And then of course there's just the being able to work out a good deal and a bad deal and how to invest and how to make money. But just that getting started, that belief, I think is the biggest thing.
Yeah, amazing. And that belief, like for myself and many other people who's been in the academy, has been the way we are here today.
Yeah.
But I can't believe that I'm now today sat with you in my home in Sandbanks, us being neighbours.
Yeah, man.
It's a dream for a lot, you know.
Yeah.
If people watch that podcast or Winners on Wednesday with Samuel, I mentioned how I only moved here about 15 years ago.
Right.
5 years I was employed after living in the UK, and then after that.
So where were you born and bred?
In Nepal.
Wow.
So I was born in Nepal. I lived there till I was 16.
How old were you when you moved here?
16.
Well, you've got such a perfect English accent.
Thank you. And it's
Nice.
trying. It's being inspired by other people.
Yeah.
That was it. When I used to work for 3, again, one of this thing always stuck to me was one of my manager used to go to me, Piers, you're ready to become a store leader or an assistant manager. That's when I was used to sell phones.
Yeah.
And he used to say, Piers, the only thing that you miss is you couldn't articulate yourself well enough.
Really? And then you made that weakest point your strongest point.
Yeah.
And here you are
And
doing
I said,
podcasts.
well, I want to get to a store manager. The first thing I need to do is sort myself out.
Yeah.
How I talk, how I articulate myself.
It's important.
And do you know what? When I did that, 6 months later, I got the store manager role.
Yeah.
And that inspired me to say anything is possible.
Skill. It's an important skill to be able to articulate yourself and communicate well.
Now let's talk about. Let's forget about the business. In the online space, one thing I've hate seeing right now is people don't talk about love enough, especially entrepreneurs.
Okay.
And I see a lot of young entrepreneurs talking about the Ibiza life,
the
party life.
Yeah.
I watch a lot of YouTube videos as well. What does love look like for you?
Well, I think for me, I think God created us to be one man, one woman. I don't think like the idea of being with lots of different people and it's shallow. And I'm not a perfect human being. I'm a man. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm not perfect. I'm not going to name names, but there's been a lot of when people come out and say like, oh, I could never. It's like, nah, come on, let's be real, I'm a man. But ultimately, man, woman, loving relationship. My wife Amanda, we've been married now almost 10 years, and she's my rock. And my kids, like, I love them to absolute bits. 4th on the way. So I can only help people in the online community and in the outside world, once first, I've helped myself and my family. Yeah, so first you provide for yourself, then you provide for your wife and your kids and your family, and then you can provide for your community, church, and it spills out from there. So for me, right at the centre of everything is me, my wife, my kids. Yeah, man, it makes life so much better when you've got somebody to enjoy life with, to celebrate with. So yeah, me and Amanda, she's my ride or die. We've got a great relationship, and she doesn't like being on camera much. She doesn't like particularly being out there, but she's behind a lot of what I do. Yeah. Certainly on the actual property side of the business, she runs a lot of the nasty stuff. Yeah. You know, heading up the management and all that admin, problems, legals, letters. She's incredible.
And I remember this, and I said to you yesterday as well, in 2018 when you announced your first children, we were in that room and you announced it in the stage.
And now she's almost 7 years old, and then then I got 7, 6, 3, and then another one.
And what a beautiful journey we've seen. Like obviously, I followed you online for all this years.
Because I've only been married a few years.
Wow.
Yeah, so yeah. No, but that was the best decision I ever made.
And I appreciate you sharing this. I think I want to be in this position in the next couple of years to share love from a partner. I've got a partner now who actually runs a estate agent here. She's an estate agent. He owns an estate agent here. And, you know, we've been together for 2 years, and I want to be able to tell young people that actually, when you're an entrepreneur, there's one side of entrepreneur, which is you want to work, you want to do this, but you want love together.
Yeah.
You want to grow.
Yeah, and it's fun. Business is a game at the end of the day. Yeah. It's just a game. And if I lost absolutely everything overnight, and all my land, and all my businesses, and all my money, and all my assets, and all my followers, and everything like that, and I was just in a tiny little caravan with my wife and kids, in all seriousness, I wouldn't lose that much sleep over it. I'd build back again. You know what I mean? Like, so, family first. But on the day-to-day, you have to be with a wife that understands that on the day-to-day, business comes first. If I'm getting calls to go do, like, you know what I mean? Amanda's never asked me once, oh, what time are you coming home? Or, oh, you're always out. Why are you always working? Like, never once has she spoken like that. And she never would, because she understands
your mission.
Yeah. I don't have to work. And another thing is as well, I would never tell anybody I'm building my business for my family, because that's not true. Because the reality is, I could stop working today and never work again, and my family would receive the exact same life. They'd have the exact same life financially. It wouldn't make any difference. The only difference would be they get to see me way more. Yeah. So for me to say, I'm building it for you guys, is actually disingenuous. Maybe at the beginning it's true, but when people that have got millions say, I'm doing it for my family, it's absolute nonsense. I'm not doing it for my family. I've done it for my family. Initially. Now I'm doing it for the greater community and for the greater good of people.
Yeah, and look, I said to you today, my family's around here. They've gone, I am so blessed. My dad straight away comes here, sits here, looks out there going, do you know?
Nice. It's nice for you.
Yeah, he sits here and goes, Piers, I can't believe.
Yeah.
And that's a special moment.
It is. It is.
And it's been for the last 3 years. And, you know, like today he arrived, sat down here straight. He's looking out there going, this is good.
Yeah, it is, mate.
This is good. And I know one of the controversial thing I've seen online with you is you mentioned that your kids would only travel economy for now.
Yeah.
I'd like to pick on that because can I just say why I say that?
Yeah, man.
My mum and dad have travelled to Nepal, and this is slightly different because I do it for them. I've always now got them business classified.
That's different because that's your mum and dad, so maybe you want to treat them. Yeah. But for your kids, you're spoiling them. You can't spoil your parents, but you can spoil your kids. So your kids, if you, like, I mean, there's many reasons why I don't let my kids fly first class generally. I mean, one reason is because my kids have got a very cushy, luxurious life. Yeah. They'll be playing out in the garden with sea views. Yeah. Right.
Going down to the beach whenever they want.
They've got such luxurious lives, and I think that could be problematic because easy times create weak people. So I think it's important that, I mean, that's why my boy, I make him box, and I spar heavy with him. I'll drop it with a body shot, back, right? All my kids, I want them to also understand what the other side of life is like. I'll take them to houses, I'll take them to small little rundown houses in Slough, and I'll say, that's where you're gonna live when you grow up, unless you work hard, you do what I tell you to do, you understand finances, you understand how to run a business, how to manage people, how to articulate yourself. That's the house you're gonna live in. You ain't gonna live in a house like this all your life. They've got to understand that. So flying them economy, just because, why should I not fly them economy? And also, they don't know the difference that much anyway, they're just kids. So I just feel like just spoiling your kids unnecessarily and having crying toddlers first class when there might be in the next man who's paid 10 grand to fly first class and spent his last 10 grand because he's got a really important meeting the next day and he needs to be fresh and he's invested that 10 grand to then have some toddler crying. Nah, man, they can fly economy. Absolutely. Until they can afford to pay themselves, they can fly economy.
Love that. Love that. And I think you've said this before in different podcasts as well. I think I realised that you're trying to teach them a lesson. And I agree with that. And there's no harm. But, you know, on the other hand, I'm thinking you've got a lot of wealth. You don't have to worry about anything.
No, but even little things like we took them, what do you call it, paddleboarding yesterday. And my boy said, can we get a paddleboard? And I'm like, okay, how are we going to afford that then? How are you going to get the money? So rather than just, we can get whatever you want, just making them think, okay, it costs money. We need to investigate how much it's going to cost and we need to put together a plan, don't we? We need to get him in on it. If he wants something, he has to work for it. He has to find a way of figuring it out. Now he's got himself a little, he started collecting pound coins and if he sees money on the floor, I'll kick his ass if he doesn't pick it up. Really? If you see 10 pence on the floor, you better pick that up. Don't be asking me for nothing when you can't even bend down, pick it off the floor, right? So he started collecting coins. At Christmas he'd get like £5 from his nanny or whatever, he'd be collecting it, and then he said, hey, I need a wallet or something, what do I do with this money? So, you know, I think it's important that kids understand from an early age. And I'm actually taking my kids out of school as well. I'm taking my kids out, I'm taking them out of school.
What's the plan?
We've hired 2 full-time teachers and built a little classroom just down the road from us.
Wow.
Yeah, just a little mini school. My kids, my brother's kids.
So what are they going to study?
Well, the teachers will teach them the core subjects that we've hired, maths, English, stuff like that, cool. And then the more business, finance, that's what I come in for.
Okay, well, I've got 2 nephews, so I'm not a father yet, so I won't be able to tell you this, but my sister's always said they would miss opportunity growing with kids.
Nah.
No?
Why
would you say that?
Because there's so many clubs and classes and all sorts of stuff going on. So like, if you want to learn something, you want to learn a skill. Let's say you want to learn piano. How are you going to learn piano better? One-on-one with a teacher or in a group class? Obviously, you're going to learn better one-on-one. So from a learning perspective, one-on-one's better. So therefore, the whole community, class, friends, all that stuff, which is important, let's not combine that and mix that with learning. Learning's one-on-one. So that stuff is clubs, go boxing, go ballet, there's so many clubs, activities, camps, which they of course will be doing. But then the actual education, one-on-one with me or with their teachers.
Wow.
And then they can go and do stuff like rock climbing, swimming, do that in a club, do that in a class, make friends.
Amazing.
Also, sorry to interrupt, but most kids that go to school, they're in a group, but if you actually look at them, they're just sat next to that same person the whole time. They're introverts, they're shy, they can't communicate. So just because there's other people around doesn't mean that they're actually mixing with different ages and talking with different people. If you look at people that are home educated, our kids are not quite going to be home educated because they're private educated, I guess, one-on-one. But home educated kids, a lot of them, they're so confident, they're so articulate because they're put in all these different clubs and groups, different ages, rather than just being clumped in a class of 40, all the same age, where people bullying each other, trying to fit in, trying to be cool. Nah, man, think for yourself, learn critical thinking. They don't teach that in school.
Then I guess that leads to, you've made this decision based on A, being a father, and B, what do you think UK's doing right now? Like, what do you think about UK in general? I see all these reels, videos online about how worse it's getting, and most of the entrepreneurs I know, especially on online space, they're moving away.
It depends how you define worse. Like, interestingly, there's less crime now in the UK than there ever has been.
Really?
Yeah.
But why does it not, in the media, show the other way around?
Because bad news sells. 20 years ago, 30 years ago, I used to just walk to the shops myself when I was like 6. Yeah. Walk to the shops. Is that because it was safer? Or is that because parents were less clued up on the crime that was going on because the media wasn't talking about it as much? The answer is it's the latter. Yeah. There's less crime now in the UK than there ever has been. But because the media is constantly reporting on every bad thing. But I tell you something interesting, there's more fear now than there ever has been. So I think it's actually, I don't think it is getting worse. Now there's lots of different things. Obviously right now we're in a cost of living crisis. That's a different story. Yeah. Also from a values perspective, we've turned our back on God as a nation. Yeah. It used to be blasphemous to talk if you spoke negatively or you blasphemed the name of Jesus prior to 2008, it was criminal. Now it's not. So we've turned our back on God. We've turned our back on religion. And we are a lost generation to some extent, not knowing basics of right and wrong, which I think is a shame. And I think that we will turn back. I think we will turn our back to God at some point, and I would hope that will be the case. And that's one of the reasons as well that I'm taking my kids out of school, just because of how messed up the values are in schools. But then there's also life skills, financial education. There's a whole host of reasons. But ultimately, you can't complain about the country. You can just create your own life. And if you don't like your area, then move to Sandbanks.
Yeah, well, potentially. And yeah. Do you know what? This is and I said to you yesterday about this story about me and my dad when I first sat down and said, because in a Nepalese culture, you don't leave home, like you stay with your parents and stuff. And I remember having this conversation with Dad, and I said, Dad, I think it's time for me to move. And he just turned around and went, yeah, it's all right. I had sleepless night to go and talk to him about I should be moving. But next week, I told him that I was moving to Sandbanks. I think he signed it off straight away.
Yeah.
He was like, yes,
as long as I can come and stay.
Yeah. And another reason why I got a 2-bed apartment, because I wanted to make sure my family deserves this. They can come with me. I bring them here this summer I've bought them every single month for a week. They can enjoy it. I can sit down, and all credit to a part of your journey with me.
Well, it's an honour, my friend. It's an honour, and ultimately, you've worked hard and deserve everything you built up. I'm glad to be a small part of the story.
It's been amazing. And look, I think towards the end of this podcast, I want to ask people about love, because love as in you've done a lot of charity works in Africa. Not sure about in the UK what you've been doing, but would love to know about where are you at with it at the moment? Giving back.
Yeah, so we've recently built a second school in Uganda. We've also, I'm actually going out to Uganda, Africa next month, and we're going to be cutting the ribbon to our new hospital ward that we've just built. So yeah, loads going on. And then we do stuff in the UK. I mean, I'm not one of these people that video everything that I'm doing and post it for likes.
Yeah.
But yeah, we give generously, and
yeah, I know that we've seen it.
Yeah, we give generously in the UK and overseas. My wife is African. She's born and bred in Zimbabwe, and ultimately, I think I help people not just from giving, but also they say that if you give a man a fish, he'll eat for a day. If you teach a man to fish, that is huge.
Yeah.
And a lot of charities have been set up from our students that have been successful, and then they've ended up. It's like a rippling effect, which is.
And I think one of your students, actually my client, Asim, he mentioned that he's going to Africa with you.
Yeah, we take out teams, man. We're taking out a bunch of people next month.
Wow.
Academy members have gone through the training, financially free. Then they want to come out. Every year, man.
Wow. Oh, I hope I can be a part, or our team can part.
Well, watch your space, man. 100%.
Absolutely. So, Samuel, I think one last question to end this podcast. What's one thing that motivates you every single day?
I think it's just being the best version of myself, being better than I was yesterday. Every year, people get worried about getting older, because they're like, as I get older, my life's going to end sooner and I'll get a bad back and whatever. But actually, as you get older, it's like a business. A business that's been running 20 years should be a lot more successful than a business that's been running 2 years, because you've had 20 years to build it. With yourself, you should have a much better, richer, happier life with more loving relationships, because you've had 20 years to build your life. So you leave school 16, 18, 20, whatever. Life should get better every year. You should create a better life for yourself. So what excites me is just having a better life this year than I did last. Being fitter, healthier, happier, stronger, richer, empowering more people.
Yeah.
Just improving, I think, for me, is what drives me. So I ain't worried about getting old.
No.
I'm looking forward to getting old, because I know that the older I get, the better life is.
And you're coming down to Sandbanks every week at the moment.
Of course, mate.
I see you a lot.
Yeah, do you?
Yes, I do. Yeah, absolutely. And it's been very inspiring to see you come down here with the family. And I've kept this and I think I've got to say this in the podcast.
Well, that's my house right there, man.
That is your house there.
Yeah.
And Samuel, I've got to say this on the podcast. Like you said, we don't like showing everything online. Believe it or not, I've kept this view private. This is my 3rd year living here, and nobody knows this view. So this is the first time ever I'm showing my
Oh,
view.
wow. You've never why did you keep it private?
Oh, I'll let the plane go.
Why
So,
did you keep it private?
The reason why I kept private was I wanted people to love me for my work.
Yeah.
This would give people a false. I know what you're probably saying, why do you keep it private?
Yeah, I don't keep anything private.
Yeah, I know. But I did it purely because I said to myself, let people love me for my work.
And then show people.
And show people. But do you know what? Today, I'm so happy that I can share this with you.
That's great, man. Well, you're proud of you, brother.
I appreciate you. Thank you so much for coming in the podcast.
You're very welcome.
Guys,
Keep up the good
I
work.
hope you have enjoyed this video. The man himself, Samuel Leeds.
Thanks for watching, guys. Enjoy.